Jaime Munguia retains his WBO World Super Welterweight title with a 12-round unanimous decision over Liam Smith. The scores were 116, 111, 119, 108, 119, 110. Some people felt like two of the scorecards were a little wide from Eric Cheek and Dave Moretti. Personally, I didn't score the fight, but my overall impression was that Jaime Munguia dominated the majority of the action in the majority of the rounds. Liam Smith had his moments and he exposed some defensive frailties in the young champion, but for the most part, Munguia was throwing way more punches, for the most part looked physically stronger and had far more energy. And what I've observed over the years in boxing is that a lot of the time when you get a young guy, Munguia is only 21 years old, very young. When you get a young guy who has this kind of build, the tall, slim, lanky kind of build, a lot of those guys, not all of them, but a lot of them have tremendous energy levels. Because I was watching the Box Nation feed of this particular fight, and early on, the commentators, particularly Barry Jones, were concerned about whether Munguia might punch himself out because he was throwing so many shots early in the fight. But when I looked at Munguia and looked at his age and his build and just the way he was bouncing up and down on his toes, I didn't see a guy who was going to punch himself out. Munguia is not a tight fighter. And what I mean by that is, even though he swings for the fences and throws a lot of these wide looping punches, there's an element of relaxation about his style. I know that's going to sound a little counterintuitive, but some of you may know what I mean. His punches are quite fluid the way he throws them. Yeah, they're wild and stuff like that, but they're quite fluid. It's quite a fluid motion that he throws the shots with. And fighters who are like that, who are young, who are lanky, they don't have a lot of bulky muscle, which fills up with lactic acid and demands a lot of oxygen and blood. These guys can go on all day, night, all night long, all day long even. And Munguia is one of those guys. Tremendous stamina, tremendous energy, youthful exuberance, tremendous strength, and really made it very, very tough for Liam Smith. Smith was down in the sixth from a good shot on the temple. I think it was just behind the ear. It was a legal shot. There was nothing wrong with it. In the corner, Liam Smith complained that it was round the back of the head, and his trainer said no, it wasn't. Interestingly, his trainer Joe Gallagher said no, it wasn't. And Liam Smith said, yeah, it was round the back of the head. It actually wasn't round the back of the head. It was legal. It was, I think, just behind the ear, which is just about legal, I believe. If it's properly round the back of the head, it's not legal, but I think it was pretty much a legal shot. And either way, I don't think he intended to try and hit him behind the ear. He was just trying to hit him on the temple, the side of the face, or whatever. But punches are not always delivered as accurately as you would like them to be. But nonetheless, other than the sixth round, Smith was under pressure in the fight and he got hurt by a few body shots here and there. But he never really looked that close to me to being stopped, other than in the sixth round. And that came right at the end of the sixth round when he got dropped. Other than that, Munguia never really, to me, looked that close to stopping Liam Smith. Because remember, going into the fight, Munguia wanted to dispatch of Smith quicker than Canelo Alvarez had done. But he didn't manage to do that. And in the post-fight interview and subsequent interviews backstage, Liam Smith said Munguia does not hit as hard as Canelo, which I can definitely believe. But at the same time, I don't think it just comes down to punching power. I think it also comes down to the fact that Canelo was more accurate. Canelo's a very accurate fighter. He picks his punches very well. He doesn't throw a ton of shots, but the shots that he does throw are very, very well placed. A very skilled fighter, Canelo. One of the only weaknesses that Canelo actually has is the stamina and the work rate. But in terms of his accuracy, he's got nice punching power, nice head movement, fluid style, great combination puncher. He can fight on the back foot very well in the middle of the ring, and he's got an improved front foot game. Very good fighter, Canelo Alvarez. So it's no shame that Munguia hasn't managed to stop Liam Smith at all. Never mind earlier than Canelo. He never stopped him at all. There's no shame in that. He's a young guy. He's still improving, and he'll go from strength to strength. One of the other advantages that Munguia had over Liam Smith was an athletic advantage. Munguia was a much more athletically gifted fighter to my eyes than Liam Smith. Smith, not as fast, His punch is not as explosive, not delivered with as much variety and flair as Munguia. Munguia, very, very good combination puncher. He has that whipping power, you know. And in terms of his energy levels, it's similar to Wilder in that sense. Obviously, Wilder don't throw as many punches because he's a heavyweight, but as heavyweights go, Wilder has much better stamina than a lot of the other tall guys in the division because he's got this slim physique and he's got tremendous energy. And Munguia, it's a similar situation. Again, even though Wilder's not as young as Munguia even extra energy with the age at 21. So, yeah, it was a decent performance. Nothing to be ashamed of that he couldn't stop Liam Smith. Liam Smith, a very tough man, you know, give him credit. The crowd, which was mainly full of Mexicans, they gave Liam Smith credit after the fight. He said, yeah, you know, boy's tough. They liked the toe-to-toe phone booth action for 12 rounds. And if someone comes and stands toe-to-toe with one of their heroes, they generally give him respect afterwards, you know. And they did so with Liam Smith. So if you compare Munguia to the other champions at 154 pounds in Jamel Charlo and Jarrett Hurd, you could say Munguia is similar to Hurd in the fact that he comes forward and just swarms all over you. In some ways, he's better than Hurd. In other ways, I'm not sure. The ways in which he's better than Hurd, I've just mentioned. I think he's faster. I think he's got quicker hand speed than someone like Jarrett Hurd. I think he's his combination punches have more flair to them than Jarrett Hurd. Does he throw more punches than Hurd? I don't know. Hurd throws a lot of shots himself. Both guys have got very good stamina. Both guys are very big. That will be a hell of a fight. Munguia versus Jarrett Hurd. Charlo, I personally think is the best of the bunch. Some people are not convinced by this. They didn't like his performance against Austin Trout, and that's cool. But Austin Trout is a different kind of fighter to a Munguia or a Jarrett Hurd. Jarrett Hurd and Munguia are just going to come forward winging shots, and they'll give you plenty of opportunities to land cleanly on them. Far more opportunities than someone like an Austin Trout. So I think Charlo would, from a stylistic point of view, much prefer to fight a Munguia or a Hurd than a Slickster. So I personally think he's the best of the bunch right now, in my opinion. I don't know whether that's a fact. It's just an opinion because we need to see the champions fight each other, and hopefully they will. But Munguia, at this age, 21, he's got a good future, but he's going to need to tighten up his defense if he wants to have longevity in the game, because you're only as old as the number of punches you take. If you're a guy who takes a lot of shots in your career, you won't have a very long time at the top level. So he needs to tighten up that defense up. Some people have suggested that he should maybe join Abel Sanchez, which I think is not a bad shout. You know, maybe refine him a little bit. You don't want to take away his energy. You don't want to take away his work rate, but maybe just polish him up a bit, you know. But he's still got a long time. Maybe he can improve with the current team that he's with at the moment. We'll see. Let me know what you felt about Jaime Munguia's performance against Liam Smith. Were you impressed? I guess this does put into perspective Munguia's performance against Saddam Ali, because Saddam Ali, let's be real, is a chinny welterweight. Munguia looked devastating in that fight, but I did say, if you remember in the post-fight video, that you can't take too much from the Saddam Ali fight because he was chinny even at welterweight and he's a small guy. So yeah, he made Jaime Munguia look like a beast, but that's a chinny welterweight. Against Liam Smith, who was natural light middleweight, Munguia didn't look as devastating. So that has to be taken into consideration. Anyway, people, let me know what you felt about Munguia's performance. Were you impressed? Were you not impressed? Who would you like to see him fight next? There's obviously premature talk of him facing Canelo. I'm not sure about that right now. Obviously, Canelo needs to get past Golovkin if he can in the rematch, and then they might be able to entertain that. But perhaps it's a little too soon for Munguia. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. It's Hatman, I'm out.